Everyone seems to agree Britain's economy needs to grow. From Liz Truss denouncing the anti-growth coalition to the Labour government winning the election and pledging to get the economy back on track, it's a broad political consensus. So why has the government been focusing so much on growth lately? Ahead of the election, Labour promised in their manifesto that in government they would work to secure the highest sustained growth among the G7 nations. Since taking office, the government, including Prime Minister Keir Starmer and Chancellor Reeves, highlighted their poor economic inheritance, following the impact of Brexit, the COVID pandemic, and the energy crisis sparked by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. They cited a £22 billion black hole in the public finances, and Reeves delivered a budget which hiked taxes by £40 billion, creating backlash from businesses who said her fiscal plans knocked confidence in the economy. The Chancellor has faced a lot of criticism for her measures, including from business lobby groups like the CBI. Its chairman, Rupert Soames, said she'd created a hole in trust. She was forced to defend herself over a trip to China during a week when government borrowing costs soared to their highest levels since the 1990s, prompting fears of another mini-budget style crisis. But the economy has since stabilised, and Reeves now appears safe in her role, with reports she is fully backed by the PM and her cabinet colleagues. So what does the push for growth actually involve? Following the recent economic blip, Starmer and Reeves have shown a renewed focus on their plans to get the UK's economy growing, especially in the past week. They've announced a reform of planning rules to make it easier to build homes and major infrastructure projects, and harder for so-called NIMBYs, or not in my backyards, to oppose them. Speaking to MPs yesterday, Reeves insisted the government must go further and faster and must start saying yes to schemes to create growth in the UK. She and Starmer met with some of Britain's biggest businesses on Tuesday to brief them on their growth plans, ahead of a major economic speech Reeves will deliver on Wednesday. The Chancellor is expected to make fresh announcements on planning and building projects and potentially back the expansion of Heathrow Airport's third runway, although it could put the UK's climate targets at risk. So why is all this needed? There seems to be a sense that the government recognises it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing since the election. Economic growth stagnated in the second half of 2024, and inflation is now back above the Bank of England's 2% target. And with the economy top of YouGov's tracker of Brits' political priorities, it's clear that if ministers can succeed at kickstarting growth, there could be votes and support to be won. Starmer has also shifted his language around growth to a more voter-focused tone. He made a speech at the end of last year saying he wants to see living standards rise across the country. Economic growth by another name. What's the reaction been? Starmer told reporters in the City of London today that growth is the number one priority, as well as wealth creation in every part of the UK and making sure that people are better off. He stressed that growing the economy in a way that people feel genuinely better off was a key test of what we want to achieve in government. But Shadow Business Secretary Andrew Griffith was unimpressed, however. He said, "Words are cheap, but a growth strategy can't just be infrastructure projects for the 2030s. The Conservative MP warned that businesses and UK high streets were bleeding out right now, and he said too many of our best and brightest were fleeing the country. What do you think of the government's push for growth? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and follow City AM for all the latest political news.